Welcome everyone, it's Sue here from Women Living Well After 50 and I'm joined today by the lovely Peter Gillian from Strong Healthy Women. Welcome Peter.
Hey Sue, how you doing today?
Good. Now, as you probably all know, I work for Peter. I'm part of her team delivering our fitness sessions and in our virtual studio. And so I've got Peter on today because there's a few things we want to talk about, which I think you really need to know. So, Peter, let's get into it. Finding fitness after 50. Now, it seems easy enough, but I think that, and I'm sort of looking at my daughter now who's in her 40s. She's got young children, she works, she's trying to fit in running, she's trying to do everything.
Yes.
And I just look and I think, gosh, I do understand why it's hard to fit it all in and to fit exercise in and to keep fit. But as we get towards 50 and over, we do have more time, but we're not sure where to start. So I wondered if we can just talk about, now I know both of us have done a workout this morning and we have our routines that we do and different variety of exercise, but I just wanted to talk to you about why you think it's, first of all, why women find it a bit hard to get back into fitness after 50.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I had a brilliant question yesterday, in fact, and one of the ladies was 70, over 70, and she actually said to me, finding fitness after 50 was okay and pretty easy for me. She said, but it's, I've been knocked around a lot by the pandemic and et cetera, and we all know that. And she said, and now that I'm over 70, I'm finding it hard. And I said, I just wanted to talk about, firstly, when we're in our 40s and 50s, it's generally the impact of, perimenopause, menopause that we start to encounter. And we start to notice the effects of that on our body. When we get into our 60s, it's more about the metabolic health and the function that starts to decline. And then when we get into our 70s, it's more about the physical decline. We start to notice things a lot more than when we were younger, when we were 40 and 50. And so I always come back to this thing that if we can pay more attention to our bodies when we hit the 50s, then we will notice more. Things like we're sitting down to put our shoes on, for example, or we're not doing our bra up at the back, when we're starting to slide around the front. Yeah. Or we're starting to use the trolley for our laundry, as an example, as opposed to putting the basket on the ground and then walking it outside. So they're all little warning signs that happen, and we start to decline our fitness or our strength in those 30s, but it starts to become a lot more noticeable, I think, in the 50s.
Yeah, I agree with that. And both of us have sort of gone through that situation, haven't we? I mean, I didn't start strength training seriously till I was in my 50s, and I'd sort of let myself go a little bit there. And, you were sort of, you found the gym, I think, was it in your 40s or
40s?
And so I think that understanding what's happening to our body is very important too, because if we're not in tune with what's happening as we eat with each decade, I suppose,
Yes.
As you said, there's the perimenopause, then, the postmenopause. And as we get older, certain criteria are more important than others as far as our fitness goes. So I think that it's important to tune in to our body, understand what it is and what is happening to it at any given time. So, what what's right for a person to, or you know, give us a bit of advice on someone who says, okay, I want to start a fitness program, but I really don't know where to start.
Yeah, I think that if you are at that stage where you are ready to start, taking any type of action is going to be important. But it's something that you want to be able to do each and every day. So you start to build some type of routine with it. So making it small, making it simple is the best way to get started. And a lot of ladies think, okay, I've got to go walking. And I actually just got an email through from someone who said, you know, oh, I went walking 10 Ks today. But that walking 10 Ks is great, but she's someone who's actually had hip and ankle and knee issues. So going straight out and doing 10 Ks after you have just recovered from something like that is not ideal, because chances are you're going to be feeling the impact of it, you know, very, very soon, the next day, or even a couple of hours later. And so what we want to do is just simply look at, hey, what can I do in 10 minutes? What type of things can I do to improve my cardio health and my strength? And I think these are the two critical areas if we were talking about finding fitness, which we are after 50. So we want to make sure that we're taking care of our heart, and we want to make sure that we're taking care of our muscles. Now, our muscles don't necessarily have to mean, you know, having that fabulous definition in our body, because when it comes to strength training, there's size, there's power, there's strength. And what we want to do over the age of 50 is start to make sure that we've got the strength and the power in those muscles, because that's the thing that's going to support us later in life. So a 10-minute combination, let's call it a circuit, is ideal place to start. So you could simply go, I'm going to work my upper body, my core, my lower body, and then I'm going to get my heart rate up, and I'm just going to cycle through something like that. And, you know, when we're talking about getting our heart rate up, it doesn't necessarily have to be something that is high intensity or high impact. Let's call it high impact, because a lot of us have aches and pains, so we can make it low impact as well and still manage to get our heart rate up.
Yeah, they're important points too about, you know, you hear cardio and people go, oh goodness, you know, that you know, I'm not fit enough to do that. Or you hear strength, oh no, I couldn't do that. And I think a lot of the times we stop ourselves from doing things because of fear. But the point that you made about just taking it, you know, in small chunks, and making that chunk count, doing it, you know, the best of your ability, but being consistent and doing it regularly is far better than, as you say, just going out for a 10K walk when perhaps you haven't prepared properly for it, or your body isn't really, it's not good for your body if you've got those conditions at the moment. You've got to take it easy. So you need to build them up with strength. So I think, you know, it's that small thing. And the other thing is we can fit 10 minutes in somewhere, can't we?
Oh, for sure. You know, there will be 10 minutes in a day that we're generally wasting. I know, like, you know, I'll sit on social media and scroll through a few things, but at least 10 minutes during the course of the day. And I'm pretty structured when it comes to my day.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people who sit down and watch TV and at night or at their computer all day. And I mean, you really could be doing things at the same time. Like if you were perhaps, you know, like when I used to go to the gym, they'd have the TV screens up. So if you were on the treadmill or something, you could do that. So you can still have the TV on, but doing that workout. And 10 minutes is nothing. 10 minutes is, if you just get in, get it done, it's over with for the day, and you feel so much better after. So,
and I just want to come back to the walking when we were talking about that, because we want to also think about, when we're women, we will tend to gravitate to the walking as the thing that we're going to do. And that's because we know how to do it. There's no barrier with it. But we don't think about all of the other functions that our body does and how we need to actually take care of all of those other functions as well. So as an example, if I'm walking and I'm leaning forward and I've not got my core muscles engaged, then I'm actually probably going to get a sore lower back as when I finish that walk. Or if I'm starting to walk lopsided, as an example, you know, alignment is out, then I'm probably going to be suffering later on as well too. So there are these foundational things that we need to take into account. And the first thing is stability. So that is working our core muscles, and that includes our pelvic floor muscles. So that's first and foremost. And then the balance side of it as well too. So stability has two components: work on core, work on balance. And then when it comes to the next thing, I would move into flexibility. And that also has these two components as well too. So flexibility as well as mobility. So flexibility is just how far you can stretch your muscles. But whereas when we talk about mobility, we're talking about how our joints and our muscles function together. And we do tend to find that it's the mobility that's the biggest concern. We think it's flexibility, but it's generally mobility. And when we hear that word mobility, we think of older people with, you know, wheelie walkers and the likes, but it's not really. It's a young person thing. You know, it's how we move freely and easily. Then you want to think about your strength. And as I've already mentioned there, strength is not just about having good looking muscles. It is about strength and power in those muscles. And then you want to think about endurance. So your heart, your lungs, and how many exercises you can do. Let's say, for example, a push-up. How many of those can you do in correct form? Because that's a form of endurance as well too when it comes to your muscles.
Yeah, there is a lot to understand, but of course there's, you know, and there's a lot of information out there. I think the other thing is, I mentioned before about the fear of doing things. As we get older, we tend to go, oh, I'm too old to do that, or I should just do gentle, you know, I can't do anything, you know, too hard. Yet you'll find, like my husband is 75 in a couple of weeks actually, and he recently had to go for a stress test. Now they don't pull any punches in those. You are going on the treadmill there. So they're looking at him, who he's had a triple bypass 20 odd years ago. So they're looking at him to push him to his limit for that fitness test. So if a cardiologist is going to do that in a controlled environment as a stress test, why aren't we, you know, we've got to realize that our body is capable of doing more than what we think, and we shouldn't be afraid. We just need to be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. It is our mind that stops us from doing things. We tell ourselves that we can't do any more than what we're actually doing. And like this morning in our FitFlex session, it was a great example. I said, I want you to bring your heavy weights and your medium weights, no light weights. And, you know, we're going to use those medium weights as a backup, but I believe that you can get through this session using those heavier weights. And I said, slow, controlled, steady movements, you know, making sure that you are using it correctly is what is going to give you that strength and power so you can live your life, you know, as that 90-plus-year-old, living independently, you know, driving around, getting your own groceries, all of those types of things. And I know we don't think that far ahead, but it's important too, because I think it's more about, and I honestly believe that as we get, further into the 50s, we do start to think about health span as opposed to more about, what's going on right here and right now.
Mm, mm. And the other thing is, it doesn't even have to be into your 90s. I mean, some people give up once they turn 60 or once they retire. They think, oh, well, that's it. I can't possibly do any more. And yet you look around and there's so many examples of women and men who are staying active and vital. And that's because they, are putting the time into themselves, into their health and well-being by staying active.
Yeah. So could I diverse there? I took 2 grandkids up the mountain with me just for the smaller hike on the Saturday, and then I took a different 5 up yesterday on Sunday. And it was really interesting to see the girls go, I've got this, but the boys whined about it the whole time, whingies. Yeah. But the interesting thing is when we got back yesterday, I said, okay, so we've got a holiday tomorrow. So I know some of you are marching in the morning, but later on in the afternoon, we can go and do it again. And this time we'll go earlier so that we can get to the top of the mountain rather than to that first pretty spot that we went to. And I said, who's up for it? The only one who said yes was the littlest one, who's 5-year-old. The rest of them went, my ankles are a bit sore, or I might be doing something. And I said, you're just making up excuses. Where's your grit? Where's your resilience? I said, if you haven't got any now, you're never going to have it when you're my age. And I said, here's the thing. How many of your grandparents play chasey with you? How many of your grandparents climb trees? How many of your grandparents play soccer? And they said, you. And I said, that's right. And that's because I do what I'm doing because I want to be able to do these things with you.
That's right. And that's the thing. I think we need to think beyond the box as well. It's not just about us. Obviously it is, we want to be healthy and strong, but there's a lot of reasons why we want to do that. And for a lot of us, we are grandparents and we want to do that, be there for our grandchildren. We don't want to sit on the sideline. We want to be in there with them and being active with them. And that's showing them that, oh, okay, you're being a role model to them. You're showing them that a healthy lifestyle can last for forever as long as you maintain it. So I think there's so many things, not just about doing the exercises, that, branch off into, if you really sit down and reflect on it all. So we've talked about being, doing little chunks of exercises. And when you talk about a circuit, let's just explain what that is and maybe a couple of examples, if you wouldn't mind, just so that people get that idea of what it is.
Yeah, look, a circuit is where you take multiple exercises and you string them together and you go from one to the next, to the next, to the next. So, and then you repeat that circuit. And so the best way to do it is to select something from, as I said, lower core, upper body endurance. So that way we're getting that whole body worked as we're doing that circuit. So we might, for example, do squats or lunges or the likes of deadlifts. So we'll stick with the squats because everybody knows what a squat is. And if you can't do the squat, then you can do a sit to stand because that's the motion that is. That's the movement. The next thing is when it comes to core strength, I love, and I think this is a real fundamental exercise too, Sue, the farmer's walk. So just holding something at the side of your body, relaxing your shoulders and having your chest upright and then drawing your belly button through to your spine and you walk around holding those things. Now, I live on a farm, so I get to do this all the time. I have water buckets and feed buckets, so I'm always doing the farmer's walk. That is one great exercise to actually work your core muscles. So it's not all about, you know, sit-ups and planks and crunches and all those types of things. So you can, you know, look at things you can do around the house. You can pick up your suitcases as an example and carry them around.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Or shopping bags. That's what I try to do. Yeah.
Yeah, anything like that. Okay, so then we want to work our upper body. And I really think lifting over our head is an important thing. So just, you know, coming up, lifting into a, let's call it a push-pull or a shoulder press as an example. I think they're really great upper body exercises, and what it's going to do is it's going to use down these big muscles in our back. And so that would be a perfect place to start as well too. And of course, then we want to do some type of cardio. So we could do jumping jacks as an example. So
and if they can't jump, you can just do the step. There's always an alternate as well that, you know,
exactly.
a different level.
Yeah, so 4 simple little exercises, really.
Yeah, and if you did them, what, say 10 times and then had a rest and then go through them another couple of times, there's your 10 minutes done, and you've covered all your body and all your, you know, the important factors that you need to look out for. Now, where you're a little bit excited, I'm a little bit disappointed because I'm not actually taking part in this, but you are having an event in a couple of weeks, and I'd love you to just share a little bit about that event, because that's what I wanted to promote today to our audience, because I think it will be really great for them, especially if you are having trouble finding fitness. So tell us a little bit about the event and what we can expect.
Yeah, so it's actually called Finding Fitness After 50. And it is on the 6th of May. So it's a Saturday morning, and it's 9 a.m. My time, which is Australian Eastern Standard Time. And what we're going to be running through are the 3 biggest roadblocks that most people have when it comes to starting and being consistent with an exercise program, and like basically how to bulldoze through those things. And so, you know, if you're someone who's feeling tired, weak, or maybe just overwhelmed by how much information is out there, and trust me, I mean, as someone who works in the fitness industry, you know, I see things all the time and I just think, oh my God, if I was someone who was sitting there thinking, where do I start? What do I do? I would be so confused. And so what we want to do is break it down and go, hey, these are the foundations. These are the things that we absolutely have to do to keep our bodies strong and fit and flexible so that we can do the things that we love. So pretty excited about it.
Yeah, now that's going to be a live event, a webinar.
It is. We're doing it via Zoom, so you do need to register for it.
Yeah, I'll put the links in the show notes so that they've got that. And I have shared it before in the group, so hopefully we can get that going as well. And it's not too late to register for that, because it's another couple of weeks away. So via Zoom, which means you'll be able to be there and probably ask questions of you. Absolutely. And I know that Sal is joining you as well, Sally Ann. So there's 2 really good trainers that will be there to answer your questions and to provide the information that's going to really help you get started.
Absolutely. And you know, we really want to focus on, you know, just simply at the end of that, you being able to take some form of action to go, okay, which of these 3 roadblocks is the biggest thing that I've got going on? Or is it something different? And let me ask about that. So that you can go, okay, I know exactly what to do now so that I can take that first step, or so that I can be a little bit more consistent in my approach to exercise.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, look, that's great. So I'd encourage everyone to check that out. I will put in the link to register for the event, but also
Excellent.
the free group that you have in Facebook, which is Women Over 50 Get Active and Healthy, if I'm correct.
That's
And
correct.
that's really good, because in there I know that Peter gives lots of information for free. And you know, you've got guides, you've got videos, you've got lots of information that women can find there. So there's really no excuse not to be fit. But anyway, that's another story.
Yes. So in the
But
free group, we do Monday, there's a little challenge comes out, and then Tuesday and Wednesday is focused on the eating side of it. And on a Tuesday, we do a fitness focus, and then we have a workout that comes out on a Saturday morning.
yeah, so lots of good things happening over in that group as well. So I'd recommend that you register for the Finding Fitness After 50 event, and also to check out the Women Over 50 Get Active and Healthy Facebook group. If you are really serious about getting healthy, and also your body deserves for you to, you know, give it the time and make the commitment, because your health is your baseline for everything. I know that for me, I think Women Living Well After 50 was the group that I started. And I always say that health is first, but after that, there's so many ways we can live well. But if we're not healthy and we're not strong, we won't be able to enjoy all the wonderful things that life has to offer in order to live well. So check out the event, check out the Facebook group, and if you've got any questions, you can ask me or you can ask Peter. And you know, I know that she'd love to see you at the event. So anything else you want to finish off with today, Peter, before we go?
Oh, look, out of the words of my granddaughters, I think we've got this.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
We are stronger than, I think we are definitely stronger than the male counterparts. So
yeah, and stronger than what we think we are. So
absolutely
anyway, thanks so much for joining me today, Peter, and good luck with the event. And I'll be there on Friday in the virtual studio taking the sessions, and you're taking them today. So it's really, if you want to find out more about those as well, you can get in touch with Peter. So lots of information there, and hopefully you will get on board. So thanks again for joining us, and thanks, Peter.
Okay, thanks, Sue. Thanks, ladies. See you all soon. Bye.